everybody, welcome to today's edition of the CrossFit Games Update Show. I'm Sean Woodland with Pat Sherwood and Tommy Marquez. Open is right around the corner. We already set the stage for the women. Today, we turn our attention to the men, and there are some titanic matchups on that side of the house.
Some people looking to defend their titles, you know. For a lot of years in the show, we talked about a Froning guy. He's old news, of course. But will there be a new one we talk about over and over again?
Well, last year, in my opinion, we had the best finish ever to the men's race with that last event between Matt and Ben. And I think it's something we're going to see a lot of in the future going forward.
You mentioned Mr. Froning. We haven't had a repeat champion since he won
that
4
guy.
in a row. His name rings a bell. Ben Smith is our defending champion. Can he repeat?
Ooh, the short answer is, that's a yes or no question, so I'll answer it. Yes, he can repeat. He's so incredibly talented. His resume makes it hard to say something else. He's been to the games 7 times. He's only 25 years young. One of the most impressive things, there was only 13 events at the games in 2015. He had top 10 finishes in 11 of them. He was spectacular, and it was his first time showing up healthy. And look what happened.
I mean, I'll preface this by saying, yes, he can repeat. But from a numbers standpoint, I'll have you take a look at this. In the odd number of years, he's been on the podium last 3 times. He averages a second place finish. But in the even numbers of years, he has a little bit of a drop-off. And by drop-off, by Ben's standards, most people will consider a banner year. He's finished 7th, 11th, and 8th for an average finish of 9th in those even years. But if you take a look at what's different about Ben this year, this sport is very much a balance of opposites. So it means as much as you want variance in the gym, you don't want variance outside of the gym with your lifestyle factors. He's bought a house, he's opened up a gym, he graduated from school. All of the things are a little bit more settled now, so he can focus solely on training, and he seems to be a different animal.
Ben Smith's main nemesis right now is the man who finished 2nd, and that's Mat Fraser. And when you look at the most impressive things that we've ever seen in the history of the CrossFit Games, Rich Froning's 4 straight, number 1. But to me, right behind that is Mat Fraser's 2nd 2 years in a row. Is this finally the year that Mat Fraser gets himself on top of the podium?
Yeah, I mean, yes, but this isn't his only opportunity because he's got a bright future ahead of him. But if you look at it, he's one of 3 men to finish on the podium back-to-back years alongside Rich Froning and Jason Kleepa, 2 Hall of Famers in my opinion. He's only one of 3 men to ever win the Worldwide Open besides Rich and Dan Bailey. So just looking at how he performed, passing the eye test at the games, there's no doubt that this is a great opportunity, and he's going to be one of those guys we talk about that can win year in and year out for the next 5 years.
His consistency the last couple years is what jumps out at me. There's a lot of people that make it onto the podium, and we never mention them again. Really, this had a banner year. So 2 years in a row, he has my undivided attention. But this is not scientific, but Matt has something, and I don't know what it is, what the right terminology is. Is it a chip in the shoulder? Is it a fire in the gut? Whatever it is, like that fiercely, incredibly grit your teeth, competitive, kill you to try to win. He's got that, and there's a lot of great athletes that are talented but don't have that. And that's what I think makes him a little bit more dangerous and just a little bit different than everybody else.
And there are quite a few men who are capable of knocking Ben Smith from the top of the podium. And Fraser leads a really impressive young group, all of whom finished in the top 10 last year, all of whom are very young, but still they all have quite a bit of experience under their belts. And this is a diverse group of youngsters who are poised to really make some noise now here in 2016.
Absolutely. These guys are without a doubt the future of the sport. And they're led by Mat Fraser, who at 26, believe it or not, is the elder statesman of the group. But if you look at what makes them so special, they're vastly different athletes. You look at a guy like Janikowski, a little bit smaller, a little bit more endurance-based athlete, next to a guy like Cole Sager, who's just a guy who can manhandle a barbell. And every single one of them has a little nuance to their game that allows them to be successful, that has allowed them to get into the top 10 at the games last year. And I think those little things are only going to get heightened as we go along, and it's going to be what keeps them in the hunt for the top 10, the top 5, and maybe even hunting for the podium in the coming years.
But if they're going to take that next step, they have to go through a group of very talented veterans who don't look like they're going anywhere anytime soon. Dan Bailey finished 4th last year. Spencer Hendel, what a resurgence for him. He finishes 5th. Scott Panchik, who's always in the upper part of the top 10. And then you got to put Josh Bridges in there too, because you know if he makes his way into Carson, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. What is it going to take for these veterans to fend off this younger group?
Well, the young guy talked about the youngsters, so I'll step in here on the old vets. I think the male field is a little bit different than the female field in this regard. So I think on the female side of the house, some of these very young athletes could potentially push out some of the more household names and keep it that way. I don't see that happening on the male side of the house. I think all the names that you just mentioned there as well. You've got people like Dan Bailey, never outside the top 10. What's Panchek's worst finish in 4 years? A 6th? I mean, with a busted up foot, these guys, I don't see them ready yet to get knocked back too far. So I think the young bucks have a couple more years of just solidifying themselves first.
Who are we watching now as we head into the Open that maybe aren't on everyone's radar at this point?
So for me, it's a guy who was on a huge trajectory to maybe being in the top 10, maybe being part of this list where we talk about the veterans. And that's Albert Dominic LaRouche. If you look at his track record, in 2011, his first games, he was 33rd. 2012 moves up to 25th. 2013 has his best finish yet. He was 12th, and he was hanging around the top 10 the entire time. He got to go to the Invitational. He was on that Team World team that upset the United States. And then 2014, things started to go downhill. He had to withdraw due to an injury. He took 2015 off. But then I spoke with him recently, and he said that he's 100% committed to coming back. He's actually even taken time off from his job as a Montreal police officer to focus on competing. So that means all of these things I mentioned about him improving, he did while pulling night shifts and pulling long shifts as a cop, roaming the streets of Quebec.
Right,
so he's a guy absolutely keep your eyes on because he has the talent to be in the top 10.
I'm quite a fan of Aaron Hanna.
Yeah.
This is a guy that, he won the clean and jerk. Incredible. As a rookie at the games, he took 12th. That's amazing. But he was one of these guys that last year at the games at the desk, while he wasn't in that top 3 that often, he was always in the conversation before the cameras went on. Hey, Aaron Hanna, that we actually knew his name by the end of the games. And what really impressed me about him was, I spoke to him on the phone maybe about a month ago, and he said people will always come up to him and be like, man, you took first in the clean and jerk at the games. That must be incredible. And he's like, yes, but the pride and joy that I feel about taking first the clean and jerk is way overshadowed with shame of taking 36 on Murph.
Wow.
He said he took a hard look at himself, realized that he wasn't a well-rounded athlete, and that's going to change for next year. And somebody that already as a rookie has that good, honest magnifying glass on themselves and already took 12th, I think he has a bright future.
Definitely bodes well for him. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Those are the top stories on the men's side of the competition. For Tommy Marquez and Pat Sherwood, I'm Sean Woodland. We'll see you all next time.